The guards almost wet their pants, unsure of what to do next. They consider putting him back in the chamber, but Adonis swiftly attacks one of them. Despite being trapped for 10 years, our boy effortlessly eliminates the other two guards, making a comeback that could rival the greatest underdog stories of all time. Doroka, paralyzed with fear as Adonis approaches her with a gun in his hand, pleads for her life. To her surprise, Adonis skillfully shoots the chain between her handcuffs, granting her freedom instead. Shortly after, an announcement is made to warn the internment camp guards that all cell doors and corridor partitions have been opened. Meanwhile, at New Nightmare Security Bureau Department, Senior Executive Yamato is in full boss mode. He orders Agent Ekout to immediately go to prison to handle the situation, giving him the green light to carry weapons greater than Class 5. Baffled by Ekout's laid-back attitude, Executive Yuki, who is also Yamato's sister, tells him not to take the matter lightly before dismissing him. Little Miss No-Nonsense vows to kill him someday, but Yamato comes to his defense, arguing that despite everything, Agent Ekout is an executive of this empire. At the internment camp, they soon realize that even the confiscated item storage has been compromised. The guards apologize to the sissy warden, explaining that the girl managed to mimic his voice to bypass the phone's voice authentication system. Unable to believe this shit show, Palpol wonders what he's going to tell the higher-ups as Doroka just freed that one SS-ranked prisoner they absolutely couldn't afford to lose. Meanwhile, Adonis, sitting atop a building, decides to play a little architectural redesign game by firing a bullet and using the gain spell to transform it into a colossal projectile. The massive bullet crashes into a building like it's late for a 9/11 reenactment. Determined for revenge, Adonis exclaims that it's time for him to eradicate every last citizen. Back at the prison, we see Agent Ekout on call, talking about how he wiped out the entire camp in search of that boy. As he gets informed about the building situation, Ekout decides to head there right after finishing off the sissy warden and his minions. Back in the city, Doroka is consumed by guilt and blames herself for not being able to stop Adonis. Meanwhile, Adonis is seen walking aimlessly through the crowd, thinking that Chloe won't be happy about this. As he talks to himself about how she would have reacted, a nosy couple gives him a strange look before deciding to ignore him. Adonis says that even after 10 years, he will never forget what happened. He recalls her voice and the look in her eyes before admitting that he had loved her too. With that, Adonis uses the summoning magic grande, causing the earth to shake as a giant breaks through whose sole mission is to wreak havoc. Forget Godzilla. This guy's the real MVP. At Precinct 6 Luden police box, they get a report that a giant has appeared. Thinking it's a prank call, the cop tells him not to waste their time, when suddenly a car comes crashing into their office. The officer screams at the driver, who looks like he's just seen the Grim Reaper himself. The officer asks if he's all right, to which the driver replies that it's massive. The cops, thinking surely this guy must be on drugs, decide to arrest him. The dumb officer calls the headquarters to request a transfer to the narcotics department, but his plan quickly changes upon finally seeing the giant for himself. As chaos ensues and the civilians run for their life, Adonis is on the scene, channeling his inner action hero and declaring that Emperor Gerda better not even think about running away. At the NBS, Senior Executive Yamato is informed about a giant robot that is tearing through the business district and is headed to their location. With local defenses not being able to keep up and the WUS Emperor having gone MIA due to illness, Yamato declares a state of emergency, requesting air-ground support from all available aircraft. He orders the deployment of armored foot soldiers and expects it's enough for a limited confrontation. Observing the colossal metal monstrosity from a distance, Yamato feels surprised that it can even move. Just then, Executive Yuki drops the bomb that Adonis and his quill have gone missing from the camp, suggesting that the robot may be powered by magic. Suddenly, it all clicks into place for Yamato. The magic photon suppressing device could be the solution to their problem. However, following the eradication of witches, the device has been gathering dust underground, and they're not sure if a decade-old device will even work. At Precinct 4, an announcement regarding the state of emergency is made, and the citizens are instructed to evacuate to a safe location. As the people cry for help, the military troops get ready to attack the giant. They begin firing at the robot, but their aim is thrown off by unknown forces and the shells fly into buildings instead. Adonis calls them scum before ordering the giant robot to strike a building, causing its debris to absolutely demolish the tanks. Seeing the state of the city, Yuki realizes that Adonis's 10 years were indeed spent meaningfully. It was a stimulation without limits and scientific research conducted within the mind. The ultimate environment to do a PhD in nation slaughtering. Yuki reveals that the only way a non-witch can use magic is through written-style summoning magic. It is the practice of understanding and systematizing the mechanisms of magic and converting them into mathematical expression. She acknowledges that mastering this wouldn't have been easy without an excellent teacher. To Adonis, there was no difference between the present-day humans since everyone who lives in this country and reaps the benefits of Chloe's death is just as guilty as the humans of that time. Adonis goes full-on supervillain by summoning a magic bullet belt and begins firing at the innocent people. He laughs wickedly as a bloodbath ensues. However, he can't help but have a moment of introspection, wishing to feel better about his actions. Meanwhile, Eekhout informs the headquarters that he's found the culprit. With all forces mobilized to take down the long-term prisoner, the aircraft drops missiles on the robot, causing Adonis to lose his balance. But hey, at least the civilians are still getting their daily cardio in with all that running. Just as a building is about to squash a boy crying over his mother, Daroka swoops in like a guardian angel and saves the day. She apologizes to the little boy for what's happening and hands him over to an old lady before heading to stop Adonis. Adonis, lying on the ground, jokes that he must be out of shape while soldiers make their way down on him. At the imperial castle, the sick emperor is comforted by the queen that their empire will be fine. She tells him to rest, stating that he did all he could to make their empire strong. The emperor says that he could only do that because of his queen's support. However, he coughs up blood, saying that it is all coming to an end because of his incurable disease. The queen tries to call for a doctor, but the Chad emperor refuses any treatment, wondering if this is a curse from God. He refuses to repent, saying that humanity couldn't have advanced as long as the witches were around. As he continues his speech, we see Adonis take down soldiers like flies. The emperor ends his speech by saying that he is certain that he did the right thing. As it begins to rain, the queen kisses his forehead and leaves him to rest. Meanwhile, Senior Executive Yamato is informed that their soldiers have been wiped out and a civilian is approaching the target. We then see Adonis strangling a soldier who says that they should have killed him back then along with the witch. Adonis gets ready to finish him off, but is interrupted by Daroka yelling for him to stop. He recognizes her as the internment camp girl. Daroka begs him to stop killing innocent civilians, asking if he hasn't had enough already. However, Adonis ignores her words and crushes the soldier's neck. He laughs at her calling them innocent and says he should have realized that Redian or not, all humans are his enemies. Hearing Daroka mention Chloe, Adonis grabs her by the shirt and warns her not to speak her name so casually. He demands to know how dare she get in his way and if she is a distraction for until the next wave arrives. Enraged, he exclaims that humans always fight dirty, just like they did back then. Daroka surprises him by calling his name, saying that the world's greatest witch gave that name to her beloved student and all witches including her know it. Adonis lets go of her, unable to believe that she is a witch. As Daroka tries to introduce herself, he grabs her by the neck, telling her not to screw with him. He chokes her, exclaiming that all witches are dead and she is just human scum. However, Daroka insists it's true. Adonis says if that's the case, then why didn't she save Chloe and let her fellow witch die? Daroka apologizes, explaining that they were all desperate to escape. However, he doesn't buy it, exclaiming that Chloe's already gone. Just then, Daroka drops the bombshell that they can bring Chloe back to life, causing him to let go of her again. Unconvinced, he uses his summoning magic to transform his quill into a sword. Daroka explains that she infiltrated the country to save him in order to bring Chloe back. Adonis points his sword at Daroka's neck, saying that he'll kill everyone who dares to mock Chloe. Daroka finally gives up, saying it's fine if that's what satisfies him. She smiles, saying that she's glad she met him. Her smile reminds Adonis of Chloe, causing him to let go of the sword. He cries, asking if it's true that she can bring her back. Daroka confirms this and asks him to come with her, saying that he's not alone anymore. As Adonis is about to grab her hand, Daroka is shot by Eekhout, who is disappointed that he wasn't able to get them both with a single shot.